You know what I'm talking about, right? Because you're a little older than me, but you don't understand, right?
No, I don't understand.
You don't understand? Okay. Well, as you start maturing, different things start happening to your body, and that's all. It just come with maturing. And I
I
can learn from
understand that.
you.
I
Okay.
understand that. I
Okay.
understand
Well,
that
I'm
part.
learning.
Because you're trying to be petty. See
No,
that's the
I'm just
that's the I'm just yeah, right. You try to throw some shit my way. The petty bone is coming out on Sunday. It's petty Sunday.
welcome back to her love and his peace with the little pettiness.
Everybody should
But
check out this podcast with Trevor Noah and his two guests. They're talking about the other host on the show. I forget her name. Her name escapes me. But she's talking
Christina,
about Christina, talking about postpartum because she's on her third child, I think it is. She just had her third child.
yes.
And he asked her about postpartum, and he asked the question the way, I probably would have asked it if I would have been thinking about it, is that you hear postpartum, and usually it's in the form of postpartum depression. But she went into like I don't know if that's a true medical definition that she used with postpartum, but she talked about the female body and organs and things um, going back to some form of its original shape and form. It never goes back 100% because everything has been stretched out or whatnot. And what happens during that time. And the light bulb clicked when she started talking about all this because a lot of females never regain their original shape, and a lot of them, there's a lot of excess weight that they have and now can't let go. It won't go away. And recently, there's a lady that had a childbirth, and I think this was like her third or fourth child. And the ladies were talking about how well she looked as far as not having the excessive weight and things, and especially for her third or fourth child, and I don't know if it's something that she's doing diet wise and exercise wise and things of that nature, therapy wise, um to speed that up, her recovery time
Mm-hmm.
from childbirth. I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that. If I don't know if it's a genetics thing with her, that her family genes, they kind of recovered quicker from that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what made the light bulb go on for me when that young lady was talking about that, the postpartum. And usually you just hear postpartum with postpartum depression or postpartum this, postpartum. You don't usually just hear postpartum by itself, and then it's that type of definition for it. So I'll put a link in the description for everybody to go ahead and check that out. Um, because he had some other insight to the village raising a child type syndrome or situation, not syndrome, but
Mm-hmm.
situation, to where he was saying how in the United States in particular, your child rearing is kind of singular, whereas
Right.
in other countries, the child rearing is more family oriented, and
Right.
the difference that it's caused in the nuclear family and whatnot. So
Right.
definitely there was some insight there. um, for the viewers to go check out.
Yeah. And with that, I did watch that video too, and I did look it up with to see what the actual dictionary definition is. And it did say it's something that happens after birth or after a pregnancy. They say a lot of women do deal with postpartum depression. I didn't deal with postpartum depression, but I can understand what she was talking about uh because once you're pregnant, it does pushes because you have the uterus right there. So it does pushes a lot of the organs that's surrounded by the uterus. It pushes it out of different locations. Because I mean, if you look at a woman body expands to have another human grow within them, and they can grow pretty large. I mean, you have what they normally call preemies when they born less than 5 pounds. 5 pounds or less is a preemie. And then when you get into the 6, 7 pound, that's pretty much a normal baby. Well, all of them is normal babies because the preemies do come out, and some of them have challenges with life, some of them don't. But then you have some babies that come out big babies. People will joke with you and say, "Oh, you had a toddler," but that's when they're big babies. Because, like, for
Right.
example, when my grandmother had my dad, she said he was 11 pounds. And that's like, ugh, ooh, that's huge. And so just imagine having that size, 11 pounds growing within your body. It's got to make room for something. So it does push it. So for all of that to come back together, it doesn't, like you say, it doesn't always come back to normal. Your body, after having a baby, your body is never normal again. You have differences um because the baby can sometimes sit on your bladder, and then you start having bladder issues to where you can't really hold nothing because that baby done kind of damaged that bladder because she, whichever, the infant, I'll say, has set on that bladder, and which has causing your pelvic to not be as strong as it was before the pregnancy. So, women have that pelvic floor where our pelvic, to not to get too gross or into detail, but our pelvic has to spread wide enough for if you give a natural birth, your pelvic has to spread wide enough for that baby to come. Or, the other way around is a cesarean. But I can see where, like I said, I didn't suffer with postpartum depression, but with the different ailments of the pains of the body trying to reconstruct back to its normal factor. Yeah, but in the long
But
run, it was worth it.
when you looked it up in a dictionary, did the dictionary, okay, was postpartum, the word postpartum or the phrase postpartum by itself, was there a
Yeah,
definition for it?
I put I put the word postpartum in there, and it came up and it said it's called the postpartum period, which is
Oh,
also known as postnatal period. So it's after birth. So yeah, it didn't come with the label postpartum depression. It was just
mm,
it's what they call, some of it calls the fourth trimester, because normally when you're pregnant you only have three trimesters, first, second, and third. You have the baby within the third trimester, which is 9 months. Normal average 9 months. Some, you can go a little 8 months, but the majority should be, I think, 30, anywhere from 36 to 40 weeks. So 8 months, 8, 9 months, you can have a normal sized baby. But they were saying that postpartum period will last 6 to 8 weeks. So normally when you have a baby, you off work for at least 6 weeks. Some jobs let you take longer. You can take longer. I could have took longer, but no, I didn't. I only took the 6 weeks. Um, and what they said, it was like during that period, a woman body's recover from pregnancy and childbirth, and she has to adapt to her new role as a mother. Now that's a trying. I mean, for being a first time mother, it's a challenge. It's hard. You gotta not only look out for yourself, but now you got this other little tiny human being that you have to care for. So
Well, they was
they
talking about
list
that in the podcast too, that they were saying that you now become a new person and
yes,
you have to adapt to this new person now. And he was making the comparison versus the states versus the village type thing, where the village is there to help you with all of those other things that versus in the States, you're kind of by yourself unless you got grandma around or auntie around and she was saying that her sister uh moved in with her, a god sister moved in with her, and therefore there's another hand there to help them with the adjustment and the kids and all of that type of thing. And she was saying too, you become a whole nother person, a whole new person. So now you're dealing with you being a whole nother person and
correct.
dealing with this new life that you have. And this is and that aspect of it to me um is because it's so now they've had this thing, okay, postpartum is the time period afterwards, and you got 6 weeks to figure it out. No, that's bullshit.
That's that's
That's
only
bullshit. We
that's
want you back
six
at work. Get
weeks.
your ass back. 6, 8 weeks, you should be back in it. That's bullshit. See that's that bullshit. Here we go with that societal bullshit. Because they want you back at the damn slave house, slaving away, making fucking widgets or whatever the fuck it is. You know, this is why this nuclear structure family thing is all fucked up in the first place. Because that is absolute bullshit. There's no way a woman is going to recover both physically and mentally in that time frame, you know.
Correct.
And that's, I think, is what's driving some of that depression part of it, you know.
True. True.
And so again, because the widget machine needs more widgets, you got to get your ass back to work, and this is why this shit is all fucked up,
Well,
this is
and
why it's all
and
fucked up.
and that's the thing. Like some women are fortunate to be able to just be a stay-at-home mom and they don't have to worry about that. And then you have some that still have a spouse, but you still need that two income coming in. And then you have the single moms that have to get back because they have to work to support this new little person. But what it is, some companies, some jobs do allow you longer than 6 weeks. You could take 6 months to a year off. But the thing is, after so long, that start affecting your pay. Like you get paid for those 6 weeks. And some jobs will pay you up to a year. See, for example, like the company I work for, you could take 6 months to a year off. But after that, I want to say pretty much after the first 6 weeks, I would say after the first 12 weeks, you're not getting paid anymore. But they are allowing you to be off. But where as we accumulate seniority, you lose your seniority after that year.
Well,
So
and
then it's
and
like if you go ahead.
the financials is one thing of what you're talking about, and yeah, that plays a part in it. I'm just talking about from a grand design type of
Oh,
standpoint. It's all trash because at the end of the day, you're taking a process that is natural by nature in design, and you're trying to make it fit within the confines. Not that they're trying to make it fit, they're making it fit within the confines of whatever the machine wants, you
Yeah.
know, and making
Yeah.
it now. When they talk about the birth rate decline, right, wherever, no wonder there's a birth rate decline wherever, because again, you're making it so uncomfortable to have children, right?
Correct.
Who wants to be under that kind of pressure?
Yeah.
That so
Yeah.
of course you're going to get a birth rate decline because you make the environment so un unnatural as much as you can,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to where no, and people say, well, that's just the way it is, and this, that, and yeah, I get it, and I'm not here to argue about the the way it is as far as that's just the way it is, and there's nothing we can do about it. I'm not here to argue about that. I'm just talking about in the grander scheme of things, shit is fucked up because of that. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you're taking the natural process of it out and trying to fit it into this confines of machine time. The machine needs this time for you to labor, not sit your ass
Mm-hmm.
at home and care about your kids, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then this society, the way it's set up to where, you know, everything is individualized so bad to where, you know, who suffers? The kids suffer.
True. And you're right.
Yeah.
I would say the average woman, you do need more than 6 weeks to readjust and be feeling up to it. I mean, because then you have those mothers, a lot of them probably is where they get the depression from because now you have that separation anxiety. It's like, okay, now I gotta leave my little person and right now to me it's kind of scary to even have one because you don't know who you can trust like like she went into having a village. Not everybody has that village. I had a
Yeah.
village when I had my children. It's like I
Right.
had my sister, my sister-in-laws, my mother, my grandma. So I it wasn't hard for me to go back to work. Was it hard? Well, I shouldn't say it wasn't hard because it was hard because I didn't want to leave my baby. But it was reassuring to know that I knew somebody would take care of my baby like it was their baby.
Right.
So
Right.
not everybody, and
Has
so
that?
that will cause, yeah, not everybody has that. So that would cause you to go into some form of depression.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's still within that 6 to 8 week time that they call a postpartum period.
Yeah. And
So yeah.
that's the thing, that's like I said, when I'm looking at it from a broader spectrum, that's why I look at it. It's more hampering to society than it is helping society, But
True.
again, we live in the good old I need to work you until you die country, so it is what it is.
Yeah,
No.
that's true. That's true. So it's not fair. It's not right that, but that's where you can count it as a blessing to have a village
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not, uh I look at a lot of the single moms that they right off the bat don't have anybody, especially it's just so hard. It's hard.
Well, and that is yeah, I'll reserve
Yeah.
the rest for later because I got my own ideas on that shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's you'll save it for later.
I'm just saying, I got my own ideas, but you
I'm
know,
sure. I'm
childbirth
sure you do.
and
Oh,
keeping this bullshit going.
yeah. But see, that's the thing. They want to force you back to work, and then, but then they still want you to grow the population, but then they make it so hard for you to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Grow the
Yeah. So
population. Yeah.
yeah, I
That
mean,
part.
because if you don't keep the population going, it's
It's
gonna die out.
this bitch could dial to zero to me. It wouldn't bother me one bit. Don't
Oh,
care.
we don't want that right now.
Why not?